So, welcome everyone. I think we can maybe start now. I don't know who else may join or not. Yeah. So, today we have April 13, 1914 prayer with us. And in alignment with this, I thought we may also maybe take up Sri Aurobindo's writing on prison and freedom. So, if time permits and if our alignment is okay, then we can maybe take up that passage, which I thought was very resonating with what was shared in the prayer. So, maybe let's go through the prayer first. If anyone would like to read it out for us, would be nice. Is anyone feeling the readiness to read the prayer? Please unmute.
Yeah, Monica, I'll read.
Yes, Shardaji.
Yeah. Karikal, April 13, 1914. Everything works together to prevent me from remaining a creature of habits, and in this new state, in the midst of these circumstances, so complex and unstable, I have never before so completely lived thy immutable peace, or rather, I has never before disappeared so completely that thy divine peace alone is alive there. All is beautiful, harmonious, and calm. All is full of thee. Thou shinest in the dazzling sun. Thou art felt in the gentle passing breeze. Thou dost manifest thyself in all hearts and live in all beings. There is not an animal, a plant that does not speak to me of thee, and thy name is written upon everything I see. O my sweet Lord, thou hast thou at last granted that I may belong entirely to thee, and that my consciousness may be definitively united with thine. What have I done to be worthy of so glorious a happiness? Nothing except to desire it, to want it with constancy. That is very little. O Lord, since now it's thy will and not mine that lives in me, thou wilt be able to make this happiness profitable to all, and its very purpose will be to enable the greatest possible number of beings to perceive thee. Oh, may all know thee, love thee, serve thee. May all receive the supreme consecration. O love, divine love, spread abroad in the world, regenerate life, enlighten the intelligence, break the barriers of egoism, scatter the obstacles of ignorance. What is the word, Monica? Shining. Huh?
Yes, shine resplendent.
Shine resplendent as sovereign master of the earth. Beautiful. See who's saying that, about the ego. If the Divine Mother says, then where are we will be?
Yeah,
As
yeah.
soon as you said the prayer, I
Mm,
read it, I was smiling at myself. If Divine Mother says this, then where we will go? Huh? We are
yeah.
full of we are full of this unconsciousness, and we always feel that we are everything.
Yes,
Everything.
yes, yes, yes,
It's
yes.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
So mother was there in Karaikal.
Yeah, so actually, the background, a little bit, what I know is that she was here in Pondicherry for the first time.
Mm.
And then she came along with her husband that time, Paul
Uh-huh.
Richard.
Uh-huh.
And they had some political work here. He wanted to stand up for some elections, and they also had some government paperwork to do something. And for
Mm.
that government work, she came to from Pondicherry to Karikal, where she was staying in a place which was very dingy and dirty.
Oh,
And there she was writing this prayer.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm. So I think this prayer, for again many reasons, it's so beautiful. As Sharda ji was sharing, that if the divine mother is saying this thing about the ego consciousness, and also we have to know that she has dipped herself in the ego consciousness so as to be able to show us the path how to move forward when one is trapped in the ego consciousness. And that's why she has dumped herself in this darkness. Otherwise, what need does the divine has to experience the limitation and suffocation of ego consciousness? But that is why the avatars, they take human form so that the path can be shown. We know, okay, if this has been shown, we have the guidance, and then we can walk the journey ahead. So here, there are many resonances with the also Sri Aurobindo's experience in the prison. So I am hoping that today we can take a few of those experiences here also. And Mother shares that how when circumstances are not happening according to our own likings, and most of the times in life this is what happens, that you wanted something else but you get something else, or you may not want anything in particular, but when some circumstance outside is showing itself up, you realize that it's not the best that you could have wished for, but it is there right now. You are in that situation. So how that difficult situation, challenging situation, not of your liking, can actually serve as a method or a tool, to break up all the ego limitations. So that's what mother is experiencing here, because ego is made of likes and dislikes. That's why in this yoga, mother talks about we have to go beyond likes and dislikes. Because as long as I am living in likes and dislikes, suffocated and limited by it, I will be, first of all, suffering all the time, because situations will happen that would not be according to my liking. And then this is the function of ego, to have likes and dislikes and aversions and attractions and desires and, hate. So all that is a function of ego consciousness. And here mother is sharing that each circumstance of my life, which we human beings, mortal beings, can relate with, that each circumstance of my life, as if it's working like a universe is conspiring, that break your habit, break your habit, break your habit. So that's why we call the divine is all compassionate. He's so kind, because all these tragic situations and difficult situations, they bring us in such a state in our life that we will have to transcend our likes and dislikes. Otherwise, we keep on suffering. So everything works together to prevent me for remaining a creature of habits. And in this new state, so everything as if in the universe is trying its best so that I break from being a creature of habits. So my habit may be to live in a beautiful surrounding, all sorted and neatly organized. But see now where the life has put me. Just like what happened with Sri Aurobindo when he was just put in the Aripur jail. He's in the beginning, he's wondering that how on earth have I landed here. So but habits, old habits which we don't even realize, which now are not needed, they are now kind of breaking apart. They have to break apart. So everything works together to prevent me from remaining a creature of habits. And in this new state, in the midst of these circumstances, so complex and unstable. Now, I think we can very well relate with this line, because in our lives, many a times there are phases where things are very complex and very unstable, and almost like, what do you say? We don't know what may happen the next moment. Yeah. Volatile, I think, is the word. Just a second, I have to put this charger on. Yeah. So complex and unstable, I have never before so completely lived thy immutable peace, or rather, the I has never before disappeared so completely that thy divine peace alone is alive here. So I think this is as Mother in every prayer and throughout her words, of revelation, she talks about how to take each life situation in the highest possible manner. And here also, Mother shares with us that attitude that she's in the middle of a very dingy, dark place, lots of ants there. And, it's not a place where the Divine Mother, like she was living earlier in Japan, Paris, and she's not used to such kind of dirt and filth, but she's put there. She's placed there, and she's saying that irrespective of outer situations, which one can say are not of one's liking, but I feel that they are not troubling me, and I am so absorbed in your inner presence that it doesn't bother me, it doesn't trouble me, and there is no liking or disliking or aversion or attraction here. So she's saying that although the circumstances are complex and unstable, I have never before so completely lived thy immutable peace, or rather, the I has never before disappeared so completely that thy divine peace alone is alive here. And I think this is the highest possible attitude one can have when going through difficult periods, which all of us go through. That since you can't do anything about the outer situation, have that immutable divine presence with you, so much of absorption there that you see even everywhere that divine presence alive. And that's what she shares in the next few lines. So not only in herself, she also is able to feel that divine presence everywhere else. Usually, we are so dependent on outer circumstances. When will they turn favorable so that I can have some peace and sanity? When will this person change, that person get fixed? When will my life get into that order or track which I want? This job, particular job, or this particular vacation. So, we are always wanting to depend upon outer situations for inner peace and stability. But here Mother is sharing the highest possible attitude, so how to use difficult situations as means to get absorbed in the inner peace. All is beautiful, harmonious and calm. All is full of thee. Thou shinest in the dazzling sun. So, as Tignathan shares, that no matter how unbearable pain and situations in life may be, there are always many more conditions of happiness available. So, I remember one time I was walking on grass, my kids were attending a fitness class in a big lawn, and I was having my walk there in the morning on the grass, wet, dew dropped grass. And there was something which was troubling me. And that time, somehow, I remembered this talk by Tignathan where he says that in the middle of pain, because somebody asks a question that what to do when the present moment feels unbearable. So, right now, mother in a situation, for mother, it's not painful, but the outer situation is quite dingy and dark. So he shares that in the present moment where situations may be unbearable, that is our only chance to connect with our, first of all, pain also, and to know that there are so many other conditions of happiness that are right now present. So, in that moment when there was something that was troubling me, I remembered that talk and I got in touch with my feet, which were walking on the dew dropped grass. And it was very cool and very calming, soothing, as the soil is usually, earth is very calming and grounding. And the moment, and then I looked at the birds around, they were chirping, and the sky was beautiful, and suddenly I was just like as if you are drenched in divine grace which you could not see a few moments earlier. And mother says in other, maybe I'll share that there is a book where mother shares that you think that divine grace is available only at few moments or few phases in your life, but that is not so. It's only that in few phases in your life you just open up, and you become available to it, and you see, oh, there it is, right here. And mother says that it's not that it just appears in that particular moment, it is always there, but we are so lost in the drama of thoughts that we can't access that 24/7 immersion in divine grace. Just like a fish is always in the water, and it may not even sense the water because it is just always in the water. So it doesn't even know that, oh, I am always dipped in water. So just like that, we are always dipped like a fish in the water. We are always dipped in divine grace, but only in moments where we are open, we feel it, become open to it. So there, mother is, sharing that I just see you everywhere. Thou shinest in the dazzling sun. Thou art felt in the gentle passing breeze. So see everything in the present moment here. You know, just like Thich Nhat Hanh shares that many conditions of happiness become available when we tune in into the present moment. So thou shinest in the dazzling sun. Thou art felt in the gentle passing breeze, and thou dost manifest thyself in all hearts and alive in all beings and live in all beings. So, Mother is becoming available to all the grace present, the divine presence available 24/7. This is there with us. There is not an animal, a plant that does not speak to me of thee. Why? Because now the person is fully available to the present moment. So everywhere you can see the dance of divine grace. It's only when we are so lost in our stories that we can't be available to that. And then thy name is written upon everything I see. So I'm going to maybe read this a few lines from what I read today. It was really very powerful, and I thought at some point of time I'll share this, but maybe right now is the time. Yeah. So, Mother shares, imagine for instance that you are bathing in an atmosphere all vibrant with divine love. You are not at all aware of it, just like we were talking, how fish is in the water, but not aware that I'm in the water. So, imagine for instance that you are bathing in an atmosphere all vibrant with divine love. You are not at all aware of it. Sometimes, very rarely, for a few seconds, there is suddenly the feeling of something. Then you say, oh, divine love came to me. What a joke, she shares. What a joke. It is just that you were simply, for some reason or other, a wee bit open. So you felt it. But it is there always, like the divine consciousness is there. So she's talking right now about divine love, and she's sharing just like divine consciousness is always there, the divine love is also there always. It is the same thing, it is there all the time in its full intensity, but one is not even aware of it, or else in this way spasmodically, so periodically we get aware of it, and then we lose the awareness, then we get aware of it, like that. Suddenly one is in a good state, so one feels something and say, oh, the divine consciousness, the divine love has turned to me. But this is so for all divine things. They are there, only one does not receive them. And then she shares why we do not receive it. For one is closed up, blocked, one is busy with other things most of the time. And we all know what we are busy with most of the times. So because we are always, our attention is turned to something else, we can never really feel, that there is something more than where we are absorbed. Most of the time, one is full of oneself. All these thoughts, repetitive thoughts in our head either about me, my story, or my family, my children, my parents. All this is me. you know. So mother shares, most of the time one is full of oneself. So like the cup is full. There is hardly any space to receive anything more. So one is full of oneself and there is no place for anything else. One is very actively busy with the other things. One is filled with things. There is no place for the divine, but he is there. So this is how I think we can see why we don't feel somehow. Sometimes we have this grudge about ourselves, that why don't I feel the mother all the time. And mother shares in many letters also, for example to Huta Didi, she writes that you run away, I don't go anywhere else. So we run away to our thoughts, our plans, our wherever we want to get absorbed in, and mother is always here, always there for us. O my sweet Lord, hast thou at last granted that I may belong entirely to thee, and that my consciousness may be definitively united with thine. So she's as if, when a person is aspiring, that may my consciousness completely turn to the divine. And if that constant aspiration is there, not like in the morning I remember that, and in the evening and afternoon there is no consciousness of that aspiration, not like that. But since mother has been showing through our prayers and meditations that there has been a constant aspiration to for this unification with the divine, so mother is saying, have you granted that? Why do I feel so much of your presence alive, everywhere? What have I done to be worthy of so glorious a happiness? So this is divine humility. We think in our ego consciousness that, see, I'm doing so much since something is not happening. And mother is doing already so much and she's sharing, what have I done? Why are you granting me this much? So this is, mother is showing us the humility with which we have to relate with the divine. And humility is one of the 12 attributes where in the mother's symbol, in the outer 12 petals, we have how to relate with the divine. And one of the aspects is humility. That what have I done? Why are you treating me such in a special way? And on the other hand, we can see objectively that she's actually aspiring and doing this work so actively. So who else can be more a favorable of a child of a divine than the divine mother herself? But here that humility is that she's sharing, what have I done? you know I've given my life to the divine and I'm asking, what have I done to be worthy of so glorious a happiness? Why are you granting this to me? Nothing. So then she is sharing, what have I done? Nothing except to desire it. And that itself is enough. That constant, to want it with a constancy. And mother is sharing in all her humility that this is nothing. This is nothing that I am giving, in order for this unification to happen. All that I am doing is just to constantly desire or aspire. All the desires have turned to this desire, which is that all my being belong to thee. May you make use of this being. And mother is saying this is nothing. So why are you granting me so much? This is the humility that mother is sharing with us. Yeah. But O Lord, since now it is thy will and not mine that lives in me, since there has been a constant urge for unification and there is nothing present but the divine will. So, O Lord, since now it is thy will, there is no personal preference or liking there, since we read in the first one, that's disappeared. The I is not there. Ego has gotten completely merged with the divine will. So there is no personal wish, liking, or any personal desire left. So since now it is thy will and not mine that lives in me, thou will be able to make this happiness profitable to all. So mother is again, as you know, in Buddhism we talk about whenever there is some happiness, let we, maybe share it with all. So immediately mother distributes it to all, and she shares that this happiness that I feel, irrespective of the outer situation, this inner stability and joy that we feel, may it be profitable to all. In Savitri also we see the same thing, how Savitri is granted all the boons and happinesses of all the realms, but she turns everything down in order to tell that no, I want this for all, I don't want it only for myself. And in Sri Aurobindo's room in Pondicherry we have the picture of Amitabha Buddha, who is standing on the threshold of realizing full attainment of enlightenment for himself, but he's not going ahead with that because he's not wanting the enlightenment only for himself. So he's saving it for all the beings, and not that only I should be liberated and rest all can be in hell still. And that's what we talk in Thursday sessions, the path of the Bodhisattva. So he's not bothering about what will happen of me. He's bothering about, since I suffer, others also suffer, so I have to take all the others along beyond this suffering. And Alokda, in one of the talks, I remember he was sharing something very beautiful, that many a times we are so obsessed with our own enlightenment that it's like there is a boat, there is a ship, and you sit in that ship and you reach the first to the divine, and the divine would say, what are you doing here? And because he doesn't want this, you just to be personally obsessed with your enlightenment. And then there is another attitude where the ship towards the divine is moving, and you are in the waters making sure everyone gets on the ship, each person, and you are the last person to get on the ship, when all the others you have brought to the ship, to the divine. Then the divine is very happy, that you have done your best. So not only just bothering about our own clarity and peace and contentment and enlightenment. And that is what we see with many many enlightened masters, that they could actually personally go in their journey in seclusion and do all the things for their own being, their own, there is no end to this liberation, but they choose to stay in touch with other beings who are in still ignorance, and show the way to that ship which can liberate them from the bondage of suffering. Still stay in the world, but just to be free of this suffering of the limited sense of self. How much the focus and obsession of the ego self makes us suffer. So may you make this happiness profitable to all, and its very purpose will be to enable the greatest possible number of beings to perceive thee. So again, the way of the Bodhisattva, Mother is showing us that may all that I have, even whatever happiness, maybe suffering comes to my life and I learn how to transcend suffering, may all of that be of profit to each one around. And this is what we see in many many cases in our stories, that those of us who have gone through difficult situations in life, diseases, or maybe separations in relationships, abuse in relationships, if they transcend that darkness and find light, then they want to share, that if I can find light, those of us who are still suffering, they also can stand up from them for themselves and find light. So that is how we can use our suffering, and that suffering cannot go waste then. So greatest possible number of beings to perceive thee. O, may all know thee, love thee, serve thee, may all receive the supreme consecration. And why would Mother share this? Because whenever we are focused on me, my story, my wants, my desires, what did not happen with me, what person did to me, this, that was done to me in childhood, this was done to me in adulthood, source of misery, source of poison. And the moment we want, aspire to know what is this presence that lives through me, to know thee, to love the mother, the higher, the divine, and to serve something higher than us, our limited self, then it brings supreme felicity. So that's why Mother is praying for all of us. May wish and aspire to know thee, to love thee, and to serve thee, because that is supreme felicity, while the focus on ego self and obsessed with our little me is supreme suffering. That's why all of us should walk that path. O love, divine love, spread abroad in the world, regenerate life, enlighten the intelligence, break the barriers of egoism, scatter the obstacles of ignorance, shine resplendent as sovereign master of the earth. So she's sharing all the things which shackle us. Dullness shackles us, so she's sharing regenerate life. Enlighten the intelligence, because intelligence can become shackled in dogmas and opinions, rigidities. So having a supple and enlightened intelligence, which is very flexible, vast, wide. So enlighten the intelligence, break the barriers of egoism, because egoism is the trouble. So break, like you have done it for me, break the barriers of egoism, scatter the obstacles of ignorance, because ignorance, ignoring our true self all the time and getting lost in thoughts, feelings, being obsessed with them, that's an obstacle. So scatter it and shine. May you take the throne, shine resplendent as sovereign master of the earth. So consciously, you take the seat, you come to the front, and may all beings take the benefit from this shining. So any reflections here, anyone? Okay, so if there are not any reflections, I think I would like to then maybe take a bit of, maybe not able to complete it fully today, of this thing that I was sharing, that since prison and freedom, it's part of the tales of prison life for those of us who have the book. And uh, I find it very relatable to this prayer, because in this prayer also the outer situations are not very congenial. They are very dark and filthy situations where mother is not used to live in such a situation. And in prison and freedom also, since Sri Aurobindo wrote it while in the prison experience, so there also conditions are not favorable. He's having the same bowl for ablution, same bowl for eating, same bowl for drinking, in the same 10 by 10 whatever the dimensions, the same that thing is there, ablution he has to done there, excretion has to be there, the bathing has to be there, the sleeping has to be there. And how we can learn from such a situation. So that's why I thought it'll be nice to take it up. So let us maybe take a bit of it. Let's see how much we can take. Would anyone want to read it? Maybe, yeah, this much.
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Anjali, please.
Men as we are mostly creatures of circumstance, confined to the sensations of the outer world. Our mental activities depend upon such external sensations. Even our reason is unable to go beyond the limits of the material. And the joys and sorrows of life are but echoes of outward events. This slavery is due to the domination of the body. In the Upanishad, it has been said, the self bond has set the doors of the body outwards. Therefore, the soul of a man gazes outward and not at the self within. Hardly a wise man here and there, desiring immortality, turns his eye inward and sees the self within him. Normally, the outward physical eyes with which we observe the life of man, in that kind of seeing, the body is our chief support. However, Much we may call the Europeans materialists. In fact, all men are materialists. Further?
No, I think we'll first take this much. Thank you. Yes. I was reminding myself that the other day I met someone who was not in a mentally stable state. And I was realizing that we don't, in the day to day life, realize how lucky and blessed we already are, no
Yes.
matter whatever is going on in our life, that we can read these words and we have the power and the presence to reflect upon it, the intelligence to have an understanding. Because not everyone
Yes.
may have, the capacity to do that. So that itself is so
This
much
is
of
sheer
grace.
grace.
Yeah, yeah,
The sheer grace that we are able to read this, we are able to attend this.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, please feel free to share at any time.
Hmm.
So men as we are mostly creatures of circumstance. I think this is what we were coming to through the prayer also. Confined to the sensations of the outer world. So if in the outer world situations are to my liking, I will be happy. And if they are not to my liking, I will be miserable. So creature of a circumstance, confined to the sensations of outer world. Our mental activities depend upon such external sensations. Even our reason is unable to go beyond the limits of material. So if some relationship is not turning out the way that I would like it to be, I would just be miserable because until the time it is fixed, I'm not okay. And my happiness is dependent totally on that circumstance. And no matter how much I reason with myself, here Sri Aurobindo says that even reason is unable to go beyond the limits of material. And the joys and sorrows of life are but echoes of outward events. When am I joyful? When something joyful is happening outside. When am I sorrowful? When something sorrowful is happening outside. And this is the real prison. This is the slavery. This slavery is due to the domination of body. Body has these what we say windows, the senses. We have eyes. If I see something, my mind interprets, that is what I take as happiness or sorrow. Then I touch something. If it's painful, I get pained. And if it's pleasurable, I get joy. So the body is I'm dominated by the body. So the slavery is due to the domination of body. In other words, we can say senses. We are dominated by the senses. In the Upanishad, it has been said, the self born
Yes.
has set the doors of the body outwards. So we always are interpreting outer things, looking at outer people, what he is doing, what he wants to say, what he has done to me. So everything is outward looking. Therefore, the soul of man gazes outward and not at the self within. And this is why we enter into self reflection, meditation, or, insight meditation like Vipassana, where we are now wanting to turn the attention within, which has been always without, always looking at outer things. So, therefore, the soul of man gazes outward and not at the self within. Hardly a wise man here and there, desiring immortality, turns his eye inward and sees the self within him. The, the consciousness which makes me capable of looking at things. Now I am conscious of that consciousness. And that's what we call, in other words, just being conscious of being conscious. So you have turned now, this is the capacity only available to human being. The capacity, see, consciousness is there in plants also, animals also, but they don't have the capacity to become aware that I am aware.
Consciousness. Right.
Yeah. So that's why we are not yet human beings if we don't turn within, and become conscious that, oh, I'm conscious. Isn't that amazing? And to get to know that consciousness even more. So this is very rare, he says. Normally, the outward physical eyes with which we observe the life of man, in that kind of seeing, the body is our chief support. So how do I touch? Through my hands. How do I know the word? Through my hands, through my vision, through my ears, through my nose. So this is, the body is my chief support in order to know the world. However much we may call the European materialists, in fact, all men are materialists. Since I am totally dependent upon the body consciousness in order to know, I am a materialist. So the body is the material consciousness, and no matter I may buy not much, do shopping and may not call me myself a materialist, but I am a materialist because I am dependent upon the material consciousness. How beautifully he is coming to that point. Yeah. So any reflections here?
Beautiful.
So maybe taking it a little further, if anyone would like to maybe read, yeah, this much.
Yeah, I'll read, Monica.
Yeah.
The body is an instrument for the fulfillment of religious life, a chariot with many horses to pull it, the body chariot on which we ride across the ways of the world. But admitting the false importance of the body, we give such a prominence to the physical mind that we find ourselves wholly entangled by outward activity and superficial good and evil. The result of such ignorance is lifelong slavery and subordination. Joys and sorrows, good and evil, affluence and danger compel us to mold our mental states in their own terms, and we too float along the waves of desire to which we give our thoughts. Greedy of enjoyment and afraid of sorrow, we come to depend on others, and receiving our joy and sorrow from others, we suffer endless misery and humiliation. Because, be it man or nature, whoever or whatever is able to exercise control over our body or can bring it within the field of its own forces, we have to submit to that influence.
Yeah, thank you. So this is what happens when we are a slave of the body. Then we do all kind of things which we should not do, because that's not our purpose. But again, the divine is so all powerful that no matter how wrong we may go, all the wrongs are made use of. So there is a win-win situation here for all of us, no matter how many wrongs we may have gone in the wrong ways. So the body, he shares, now the body is an instrument of the fulfillment of religious life. So it's a precious instrument. A chariot with many horses to pull it. The body chariot on which we ride across the ways of the word. So it's like, how in Gita there is this reference of, the horses, and Shri Krishna is like restraining those horses of the chariot. So that's how the self mastery, as mother talks about self mastery, that this is what is supposed to happen, that we have to master all the horses. We have to become the master of the chariot. But right now we are a slave of the chariot. But admitting the false importance of the body, we give such a prominence to the physical mind that we find ourselves wholly entangled by the outward activity, and superficial good and evil. So all our, if we see our day-to-day activities, all the time we are just engaged in running towards more happiness and wanting not sorrow. And also same with the body. The moment a little bit of pain comes, we begin to withdraw. We don't want to endure pain. want to run away from physical pain. It doesn't want to endure. We don't want to endure. The result of such ignorance is lifelong slavery and subordination. So, since we are not yet masters of the body, we are slaves of the body. We are not enduring and making it stronger and stronger and stronger. We have to subordinate. So we are lifelong slaves of the body. Like how we really suffer when there is hunger, when we are thirsty. I need water. So that's a little bit of a reflection of how we are slaves to the body. And in Tales of Prison Life, actually Sri Aurobindo shares that since it was so hot and humid, and when he was in the prison, the only container was his tin can in which the water would be put, but it would become so hot that if you drink that hot water, your thirst is not quenched. And by the time he actually received a kind of a matka which would keep the water cold, he said that by the time I had transcended that thirst in the body, so now I was not a slave to that thirst, that oh my god, I need water, and that too cold water. So he was sharing that by the time the earthen pot was brought to my cell, I had actually transcended that thirst and that slavery of the body. And how we feel miserable when we don't have one meal in the day. We skip a meal. We are craving, something I should get to eat. So that's how we are slaves of the body. Of course we can say that this is a bodily need and not my desire. Of course we can say that, but still we are slaves to the body. The body is dominant and we are subordinate to it. So, the result of such ignorance is lifelong slavery, subordination. Joys and sorrows, good and evil, affluence and danger compel us to mold our mental states in their own terms. Yes, Anjali ji. Yeah.
It may be self-justification, but at this moment, I want to ask, because body is your instrument through which you can lead a religious life, and you have to keep it healthy. I'm not obsessed with the health, but when, say, for example, if you are suffering from kind of acidity or things like that, which are due to their certain reason, it has a history. So you have to take care of your body. So in normal life, we are at this juncture. So what should we do? We should not be obsessed with the hunger, but at least there has to be something to sustain our body or to keep this disease away from it. What should be the right path? I have two actually questions. There are so many questions. Like you were also saying that we are always engaged in our outward activity, but mother has said that whatever things we use in our household things, it is our duty to keep it in proper manner also. So there are two ways. That one is that you want to show, and one is you want to keep it. So at present, not Diwali, but this thing, but it happened that I had to do, there was some urgent need for the house repair and all these things. And I knew that this is going to happen, but still, during all those 2-3 months, I joined all these courses. I knew that I would be very busy, but I thought that हम तो इसी सब में busy रहेंगे, फिर कब मौका मिलेगा? और इसलिए I will join, at least I will have recording later on. So this is just, I think, that grace of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. But we normal people, we have to see all these things. We have to arrange. We have to organize our house also. And that, but yes, with the help of all this integral yoga, the things are better now that we are compassionate towards others who are working for us. We are not disturbed that much. ठीक है, घर गंदा है कोई बात नहीं, फिर ठीक हो जाएगा. So that kind of peace and harmony is there, I think. But I think that this is the sadhana that you have to keep on walking on Aryan spirit.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Regarding your the question on the body consciousness, Mother has really shared lots, and also this video that I shared with many of us today. Maybe I'll share it with you also, where there is since today is Pranab Dada's birthday,
Acha.
who was a devotee disciple of Mother, very close to Mother. He used to play lawn tennis with the Mother,
Wow.
and he had a beautiful
It
body.
was Pranavda who was calling mother, ma, ma, ma after 5th December. mother has gone for total this thing, and she was not, and she Pranam Da was all, calling mama, mama, ma, and she heard his voice.
Beautiful. So there, since he was a very beautiful example of aspiration and body consciousness.
Acha.
So if you look at that documentary, I'll share it with you. So
Mhm.
it's really beautiful that how uh, mother is sharing again and again, praising his psychic aspiration, which is in the body consciousness also. And mother is talking about that in you we see how the physical consciousness can aspire for more beauty, more harmony, more endurance. And he was given the charge of physical education area, so he brought in many sports and was training young people, young boys, in gymnastics and boxing and all that. So mother shares that, see, body wants to be strong,
Hmm.
body wants endurance, body doesn't want to be weak. That's the aspiration of the body to which we have to connect. So in case of your question about food, etc., also.
Not only food, there are so many. I'm suffering from cervical spondylitis. Then there's a spine problem also, like kamar mein dard hai. Then there's a knee has also started. So at present, I have to take care of my body.
Hmm. Hmm. And by all means, you have to take care because the body is giving signals.
Hmm.
And there is also another beautiful book by Gabor Mate, which is called When the Body Says No.
Hmm.
It's a very good book where he has done a lots of stories, presented a lots of case stories, studies, where he says that how when we don't attend to our true
And
being.
those
Yeah,
platforms.
I will share that link with you. How the body begins to signal that that's enough, come back to your true essence.
Hmm.
So all these signals that show up in the body are actually signals for us to come back home. And when the mind is home in the body and not lost in thoughts, that's why we do meditations, that we are bringing ourselves in the present here and now. Then really many of the situations improve when we are not lost and engaged in thoughts and storylines all the time. It really, really is beneficial. And this is, I think, just a second. I think this is a very beautiful indication coming from the body
That
that,
I do when I'm taking this physiotherapy and all these things, then I'm remembering mother.
yeah,
Constant.
yeah,
Whenever I go for any treatment, like tooth treatment, I remember just mother
yeah.
every time. And one thing more, which is like you were saying, that I am conscious of the consciousness. So
Mm,
what I have started these days, that I have to do all these works. So
mm.
it is not essential that you sit and do meditation. So every moment you can be conscious. Like
Absolutely.
my hands are doing activities, washing and things like that, and my consciousness is placed within in my center of my heart.
Mm, yeah,
So,
and that is what has to be done. I think the sitting part is just to give us a beginning,
yes.
like a push into being meditative throughout the day.
Hmm.
Because if I am in the beginning, I don't know how to be meditative throughout the day, then
Hmm.
in the beginning of the morning or while sleeping at night or in between, if
Hmm.
I take 3-4 minutes to just ingather my consciousness
Hmm.
consciously, then I can maintain this continuity throughout the day.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
I think that's just to get a taste of it, and
Hmm.
also to know that this process is so long that even when I am remembering and in my pain, like when I go to the dentist, it is possible to remember mother strongly, you would have seen.
Hmm.
But when the things are okay in our life, nothing much is painful,
Hmm.
then to also be conscious of where I'm engaging my attention,
Hmm.
because these are the things which are
I remember two sentences when I was reading mother's book.
yeah.
Be conscious, find your psychic being. Be conscious, find your psychic being. So when I'm walking, when I'm climbing the stairs, that thing comes in my mind like a mechanical mind. Be conscious. Be conscious. And the moment you are conscious, then you remember.
Beautiful.
When
Yes,
you again forget, that's a different story. But
yes.
again, but
Yes,
again.
absolutely, absolutely. And mother talks about, in the beginning, you may feel that nothing is happening. You know, I
And
have been,
comparing with others, comparing like yesterday in the workshop, I was so, then I remembered your thing that we are comparing. I'm not doing, everybody could go within. And I was initially, I was very in a very good state, like green light and all these things. But that voice were distracting me. So what I did that I opened my eyes and I focus my eyes on mother's face. And then I am able to meditate better than with closed eyes.
anything that works for you.
That works,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Maybe this is the beginning. In beginning, this happens that you come on the path, and then with Mother's grace, you can go deep within while in meditation also.
I think this beginning, all of us are beginners, and it may appear that some are more sincere, sorry, senior, and others are maybe juniors.
Some
But
old souls like you.
yeah, yeah. But I think it's all of us are beginners because this is a journey to the infinite.
Right.
And infinite is not something like, oh, this is a book, and see, I have reached the book.
Hmm.
Infinite is that you can just continue to journey.
Hmm.
And on that, we are all beginners. And it's beautiful just to be a beginner because the path itself is joyful. You know, remembering the mother is joyful. You know, so who cares about the troubles on the path? In fact, in the troubles, I remember the mother even more, you know. So being happy about that, yes. And mother shares at one point that many a times we are concerned, oh, I have not made much progress, you know, see, again, my mind wavers a lot and falters a lot. But then mother says that if you continue to do these baby steps that you were sharing, for example, then one day suddenly something breaks open. Like she uses the example of an egg,
Hmm.
like how a chick is developing in an egg.
Hmm.
And for many days, you see nothing is happening. You know, the egg is the same size. Outside, from the outside, it looks just the white colored egg. Nothing is changing, nothing is changing, nothing is changing, nothing is changing. You are looking at it every day. One day it just cracks open and a chick is out. So mother says that sadhana is like that. That for everything we need lots of little efforts, and all of those efforts are doing something. But for them to have a crack, you know, you need to be perseverant. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Anyone else wants to add on? Yes, Shardaji.
Yeah, Monica, one thing I always think, see, at difficult times, we'll be in touch with the mother more often. But when we are happy, when everything is okay, it is very difficult to remember the mother.
Mm-hmm.
But, if we try, to remember the mother more than, the difficult times, then life would be very nice. That is what I always feel. If you want any
सुख में दुख में सुमिरन सब करें, सुख में करे न कोई, जो सुख में सुमिरन करे तो दुख काहे को होए.
whatever you want, you'll do. Nah? So that should be changed. See, it should be every day, every moment, as Anjali ji was sharing, when you climb the steps, be conscious. Think of the mother. When you cook, when you do anything at home, when you wash your clothes, wash your vessels, it will be beautiful, no? I used to dream of that state. One day, mother will give that also. Yeah.
Absolutely. We must keep dreaming. Yes, yes. Very,
Yeah.
very important. Yes.
So we
Aspiring.
don't need to get any suffering.
Yeah.
So
See,
in one of your message also you sent, no, don't aspire for suffering, but if it comes, you take it in a right sense. So like that, we don't need to have suffering to remember the divine. See, instead we can keep practicing every moment, every minute, every day. We should keep thinking of her. How nice it would be, no? But as human beings, we need something that then only we'll remember. But we can change this also.
yeah, beautiful.
Definitely.
I think what Anjali ji was sharing, the Kabir's couplet, that दुख में सुमिरन सब करें, सुख में करे ना कोई, जो सुख में सुमिरन करे तो दुख काहे का होए. So here Kabir ji is saying, just translating in English, that when we are in dukh, suffering or pain, then we really remember the divine, because we feel so helpless that, who to ask for some relief. So we turn to the divine. Then it's like it comes to me. But when the things are okay, when it's like not pain is there, no much suffering is there, then if we remember still what you were sharing, Sardaji, that if there in each moment of my life when I am not troubled, then I am remembering the divine, then what happens is that it's very difficult for me to get sucked in the ego consciousness back again. And that's the suffering. So that's dukkha.
Correct.
So actually, I am, by being vigilant and by turning everything towards the mother, towards something higher, what am I doing? I am in my vigilance, avoiding falling into the trap of the ego consciousness. And that itself is misery. That's the dukkha.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
if in my okay moments, again, that's our sadhana. We continue to turn everything to the mother. Mother, I live for you. Make use of this being. Continue to aspire, continue to remember, to turn every thought, feeling to the mother, nothing else. Then it's very, very difficult to get sucked in ego consciousness, which is the source of suffering.
Yeah. In
Yeah.
one of the books I read, I don't know where I read it, but when you are traveling, so you keep calling the mother for your safe journey. So when you reach the other place safely, then you comfortably forget the mother or divine. But if but if anything, if you have any problem in the travel, then you keep calling the divine. Oh Lord, please help me, please help me. So it is not so. When you reach safely, don't forget to thank the divine. See how many times we do that. In a day, if you expect something, some phone call to come, if the call comes immediately, you have to thank the mother. But after speaking, everything, so and then only, we didn't thank the mother only. So that is how the human mind works. But if it works this way, then life would be really beautiful, no?
Yeah,
In
and
fact, Bhargavi, when we wake up in the morning,
Yeah.
that the first thanks should be there that I wake up with your grace, right?
Yeah.
Our gratitude should be there. And in fact, when we remember God while waking up, words are not there that thank you or gratitude, but in fact, we remember for that reason only.
Definitely. Yeah. But
and
we all know that the mother is, mother advised somebody, I think, I forgot, Tara Didi's father, to keep calling her in the morning 10 minutes and before going to sleep at night 10 minutes.
beautiful.
See, she is told for, Surendranath ji, but, even we can practice that.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
It is not only for him, through him, we also get that advice. But I used to think, early morning, how many times I'm able to do for 10 minutes calling the mother. Within 2 minutes, my mind will start jumping. Today, Mira has to go to office. I have to go and cook. I have to do this. I have to wash clothes. So the thoughts, as soon as we get up, I pray the mother, please, mother, for some time, make my mind silent. At least I'm able to concentrate in your name. So finally, what I did, I started calling, I told the mother itself, please come and call you in me. Please
Beautiful.
come in me and we both will call your name. So finally, that agreement we have come now.
Good.
Otherwise, this chatterbox is not, stopping. So once we make that some agreement like that, then we'll be able to concentrate for at least 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful
Yeah.
thoughts. Yeah.
I also see that when we slip from a state of thankfulness to whether we are saying it or not doesn't matter. When we are in a state of gratitude, we are very open and not in the limited ego consciousness, which is always lacking. In ego consciousness's life, everything is always lacking. Something is always missing. And we can't see so many things which we can be grateful for. But the moment we turn towards this right attitude of gratitude, I think there we are giving ourselves a chance to breathe out of that ego consciousness. Otherwise, really, there are endless things to be worrying about, to be in tension about, things which are not okay, should have been turning well. Endless, on everyone's list, there can be endless things. And parallelly, if we begin to make a list, there would be endless things to be grateful for as well.
Yes, yes, very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is very good tip when we do counseling to give it to others, that you make a list that what are your virtues and what are your defects, because we always find our defect. So
Mm.
when you make your list positive attitude, then you have good high self-esteem. Similarly, in this also, when we
Mm.
count our blessings, there are endless blessings, endless blessing. Then our miseries are so little if you
Yeah.
count your blessings. This
Yeah.
is very good auto suggestion
Yeah.
for making yourself happy. And
Yeah.
as one day you were saying that, so I had made this principle that to thank all those persons who have given me kasht or dukh jinko sabse zyada, because you have shown me the path. So I thank you first. Otherwise, I would have been immersed in this worldly affair as not remembering divine. So, in a beautiful poem, pain is the golden hammer of God. Right.
Beautiful. Yes. So I think we'll maybe take up the
Yes.
rest next time.
Hmm.
We'll go slow, and if possible, we can take it up, or if not, it's okay also. But anyway, I would recommend reading this one, Prison and Freedom, by some of us may have already read it. It's in the book Tales of Prison Life.
Yeah.
That's where it is, but it's also available on
I have written the whole book, and in fact, it was very healing effect, motivating, supporting, whatnot. Then I could relate myself that being in this situation, um, you have to be calm and cool, because all our great person Ram and Sri Aurobindo, they have also suffered like this.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very good support.
Yes, yes.
And for those whom I have suggested to read this in Hindi or in English,
Mm.
Karavas ki Kahani ya Tales of Prisons, it has worked with them also.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Yes.
Sorry, Anjali ji, what were you saying? I didn't get you.
I was saying that this book is very good in the sense that if you can relate with this situation, that in Karavas situation, in the summers, like he was taking from Lal Bazaar all these rassi crossed with the hand, and he was saying that why you have done this, and then he reached, and then Vasudevam Sarvamiti, he had that experience. So in that situation, where in a small cell he was living, like Monica was talking about that in May. It was a one bowl which you have to do for everything. So when you are in situation in our worldly affair, and we think that I have so much of suffering and this and that, then you have to understand that all our avatar and gods, they have also gone through life. Ram being a prince, he could have taken the throne, but he chose the Vanvas. Sri Arvind, what he, so they have shown with their examples that how we can go ahead with this, our life in a calm and cool and peaceful manner.
Yeah, yeah.
Because generally people say, this is our karma. That makes you depressive. कि हमने कितना कष्ट किया through what I have done in my previous life, that I have, everybody is doing this. So karma theory is not very convincing in the sense it does not give you much of the counseling. But when you say that it was right, it was consequences. Say for example, you had done this much of sin that you were cursed to be burned in a fire. There was a tale that a rishi was doing home, and he just touched with the hot iron chimta the shish, and they asked that why have you done this to the disciple. He said that I could see him that he was cursed with to be burned in fire, so he just put the chimta so that all that curse had. So similarly, whatever sin we had done in our previous lives, so instead of feeling guilt and all these things, we should think that this is gratitude that we have given this thing, and that grace is there, and then now we can change our destiny.
Beautiful, beautiful, Dr.
This is the life now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So this is the interpretation of the karma theory.
Yeah.
People say, your karma, like you are suffering in your situation, you think that there is a concept in Hindi which is Rinanubandh. Rin is debt and Anubandh is the contract. So we are related with other persons. If you find that there's too much of negativity in a relationship, so it is your Rinanubandh. And the moment these Rinanubandh will end, then you will be given an opportunity to take the decision. So the social decision may be that you want to sticky, you were talking about a sticky relationship. But by the God grace, if you choose that, no, enough is enough, now I have to go forward. So this helps. Suffering is, in fact, your door to the blessings.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is the interpretation which I got in integral yoga and Sri Aurobindo. When I
Yeah.
came into with the Sri Aurobindo and mother's reading, then I could understand. Nobody else could make me understand why it is happening.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
to doing all the
I
good
think
things.
we see that more than the happier moments in our life, how much the difficult ones have given us. How much they have shown that, oh, I still am operating from the ego consciousness.
Yes.
So much of arrogance is there. I'm always high up in the air, feeling I am more right and the other one may be wrong, or the other way around. We're always obsessed. So I think if we see all the difficult people in life and
Yes.
all the difficult situations in life, they have given us the opportunity to really grow and ripen in our life.
And I consider this the grace that mother has given this situation, that you have to, as you were saying, you pass your 2 meter hurdle, 2 feet hurdle, then 3 feet hurdle, then 4 feet hurdle. So then it is easy to pass those hurdles.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Any?
And Monica, I wanted to share one more
Yes,
thing.
yes,
See, in
yes.
the prayers and meditation, the second paragraph, Mother is asking, what I have done, what good I have done. No? So the same way, Saint Tyagaraja is asking Lord Rama, what I have done that you are so kind to me. That song, I remember that song. He asks like the mother only. He asks Lord Rama, say, I don't know what I have good in me. You have given me so much, but I don't know whether I'm worthy of it also.
Beautiful. Would you like to sing that for us?
Yes, I also wanted you to sing.
Yeah, yeah. Please go ahead.
Ye nati nomu palamo, ye dana palamo, ye nati nomu palamo. I don't remember the next Anupallavi, but I will share in the group. Everyone can listen with the meaning, I have not done any, dan, we give dan. I have not done any good in my life. I don't know whether I have done in any of my previous janmas, but the merciful, so kindful Rama, you are giving me darshan of yours every day. So when I listen to this song, I'll cry. I think of the mother. Mother, you're so kind to me.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank
I'll
you.
share this song.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, please. Yeah, thank you.
You
Definitely.
sang beautiful. We could understand what you were saying,
Mhm.
and that feeling was there in your voice and your.
Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you
Beautiful.
so much. Yeah. Overall, it was a beautiful session, Monica. Thank you so
Beautiful
much.
session.
Thanks
Yeah.
to all of you. Thank you for attending. Yeah. So, any last comments before we end? Anyone? Shweta or Swapna? Anything? Okay.
No, I just want to say thank you. Thank you, everyone. Beautiful
Thank
session.
you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, and happy
you.
practice. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.